Hey guys, Charlene Ortiz here. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a couple of really easy exercises that's going to help to loosen up any tightness that you might have in your lower back or your hip area, as well as strengthen the midsection, the abdominal area, particularly the transverse abdominis, and help to challenge your balance, your stability, and improve your neurological communication as well. If you haven't had a chance to watch my video on improving posture, reducing pain, and improving abdominal strength, I highly suggest that you do take a second to watch that, because it's going to discuss a lot of the basic concepts that we're going to go through today. And I'm not going to get into as much detail today just because I did on my last video. I just want to kind of get into the exercises so you can have a better understanding of what we're talking about. It might be a good idea to check that video out, and I'll put a link in the description below, and I'll try to put one on the screen as well. So, okay, so oftentimes when I'm working with my clients, I notice that they have a difficult time getting into their neutral because they carry so much tightness in their hips and in their low back. For example, if I have a client that has an excessive lordotic curve, and I'm trying to get them to get into their neutral by tilting their hips forward a little bit, because they're so tight and stuck, they can't really seem to do it. And the same is true with the opposite. If they have a back that's a little more flat and a little bit more of a kyphotic curve, then trying to get them to get into their neutral where they're arching their back a little more, again, they're so tight, and they're, again, neurologically, they have a difficult time understanding how to do that. And so they have a really hard time performing that movement because they just feel so stiff. And so I just wanted to do a really simple exercise to help loosen up that area, to make it easier for you to get into the appropriate position when you're doing your exercises on your own. So, okay, let's go ahead and get into our exercises. Okay, we're going to use our resistor ball today, or our big exercise ball. If you don't have one, you can check out my video on how to build a home gym for under $50. And I have links that I provided there that you can get one online, or pretty much anywhere you can get these. They're really easy to find. So, all right, so we're going to start with our hip rotation. And it's real simple to do. And again, it's going to help to loosen up the muscles in your low back, and also help to loosen up a lot of the musculature that surrounds your hip joints. So, again, as we talked about in our first video, always get into your neutral spine, and you're going to pull that belly button in, activating that transverse abdominis, and try to maintain that activation as much as possible. So you can put your hands on your knees, or you can put your hands on your hips. Sometimes I like to have my hands on my hips so that I can feel what my hips are doing and make sure that they're doing the circular movement the way that I want it to go. So keeping the rest of your body stable, you're going to bring your hips into a nice circular movement. And again, the movement is isolated just at the hip joint. The rest of your body is staying as stable as possible. So what we don't want is this, you know, where you're moving your whole body around. That's what we don't want. We want the movement to be isolated strictly just in the hips. And so then I'll have my clients switch directions and rotate the other way. And we're going to do an actual set too. I'll show you how I want you guys to perform this at home on your own in your exercise program. Okay, so again, as you can see, real simple to do. I'm going to do a little lateral view for you, so you can see what's going on with my low back, especially for those of you that have a tough time getting into your neutral spine. And so for those that have an extended or an accentuated curve in the lumbar area of their back, I will instruct you to push the ball forward to bring your back into its neutral position. If you're someone who has more of a flat back and maybe a little bit of kyphosis where you round your shoulders forward, I will instruct you to push the ball backwards, again, to get you into your neutral position. So again, if you have an excessive lordotic curve, you'll pull it in slightly to get into neutral. If you have an excessive kyphotic curve and flat back, you'll push it back to get slightly into neutral. And so again, this is a movement that you can practice in sets of maybe 10 or 15 repetitions, just so you can get a feel for where your back should be. And it's also a good idea to perform these movements in front of a mirror if you can, so you can kind of see what your back is doing and seeing where your neutral is in the mirror, so you can practice exactly what it's supposed to look like. Eventually you'll get a feel for it when you learn where the right position is supposed to be, and you won't need the mirror anymore. But mirrors are really good when we're first learning how to do new exercises. So all right, so let's go ahead and we'll start with just a set of 10 rotations, one direction, and then we'll switch and do 10 rotations the other direction. All right, so I'm going to start rotating towards my left side, which is, I guess that's counterclockwise. So again, I'm in my neutral, my abs are pulled in nice and tight. I'm gonna put my hands on my hips. Again, you can put them on your knees if you want to, and let's begin. So we're gonna rotate, and remember the belly button is staying pulled in, the rest of my body staying completely stable, and the movement is staying isolated only in my hips. Let's do 3 more rotations. And your last one, and relax. Okay, so now we're going to do the other direction. And you might even notice when you're doing the rotation that your transverse actually automatically engages on its own. It just will naturally engage in order to keep everything else stable and to do the rotation. So let's do the other side. And so now we're going to go clockwise, or I'm going to my right. And we're keeping that belly button pulled in, we're maintaining our neutral spine, and the rest of our body is staying as stable as we can possibly keep it. And let's do one more, and relax. Okay, so it's literally that simple. And this is, again, another movement that you can do every day. And I recommend that you do 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions and just take time to rest in between each set. The next exercise we're going to do is going to be really great for your balance and for your stability, and again, helping to strengthen the musculature in the midsection of your body, particularly your transverse abdominis. Although all the other abdominal muscles are working too, they always work in unison with each other. You can make one area of the abdominals work a little harder than the other areas, but you can't really isolate one part of the abdominal area. They always work as a unit. So, okay, so let's go ahead and begin. With this movement, you're probably in the beginning, if your balance is really not that great, you might want to do it next to an apparatus that you can hold on to for stability, just as you're getting started and you're learning how to do the movement properly. So, okay, we're going to get into our neutral, pull that belly button in, and you can put your hands on the side of the ball, or you can, again, put them on your legs, wherever it's comfortable for you. And we're going to slowly lift up one leg off of the floor, go as high as you can, and then you're going to release. This is another movement that you will naturally engage your abdominal muscles, even if you're not consciously thinking about it, because they must engage in order for you to lift that leg. And if you're trying this without holding on to an apparatus, you're going to realize fairly quickly that this looks it's a lot more difficult than what it looks like. So I do recommend that you use an apparatus, a chair, do it next to a table, something that's actually, a table is better than a chair, but something that's fairly stable, that if you lose your balance, you can, catch yourself on it and it won't fall down. And so, I do recommend that you use something to give you a little bit of stability as your body neurologically develops the ability to keep you stable while you're doing this movement. And so, all right, let's go ahead. We're going to do a set of 5 repetitions on each side. So I'm getting into my neutral. I'm pulling my belly button in. I'm activating that transverse abdominis and keeping it nice and tight. And we're going to slowly bring up one leg and go ahead and release. I sometimes like to do a count in my head to like maybe 4,000. So 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, down 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. And that helps to assure that you keep the movement nice, slow, and controlled, because it is meant to be a slow and controlled movement, because that's what's going to challenge the muscles to have to stabilize you a little bit longer, as well as, again, help to develop your neurological ability to actually do the movement. So again, make sure those shoulders are back, you're keeping that neutral, and you're consciously pulling that belly button in nice and tight. Let's do 3 more on each side. Again, nice and slow movement, and release. Again, nice and slow, controlled movements. If you want to take your hands off your knees, you'll also notice that it's going to take a little bit more stability to do that as well. But over time, as you get stronger, you can advance on to more difficult ways of doing this. And I'm going to show you more difficult ways of doing this in the future. I'll give you guys some time to practice this on your own, so I can advance you to other ways of doing this that will challenge you a little bit more. So, all right, guys, that's about it. And so you can add these movements to your daily routine along with your scapular retraction, along with your transverse abdominis activation, where you're just standing there and holding it in for a few seconds. And over time, my goal is to give you guys just a nice little library of exercises that you can do, again, at home with limited equipment that won't take you very long to do. So, all right, guys, I would really love to hear your comments and your thoughts, any questions you might have. Again, any exercises or any topics that you would really like me to discuss, so I can cater this channel to you and to what you guys want to see and make these videos as awesome as possible. And a like and subscribe would be really awesome. So remember, always take care of yourself, protect yourself physically and emotionally, and don't forget, your health is your most valuable asset. Invest in it. Bye-bye.